Welcome to Animal Spirits. We are live from Huntington Beach, year 4 at Future Proof, and we are excited to do the show in front of the best audience of fans in the world.
Today's show from the beach is brought to you by Sprott ETFs. Looking to add some shine to your portfolio? An investment in the Sprott Silver Miners and Physical Silver ETF, SLVR, may help you do just that. Silver is not only a precious metal with value as a currency, but...
That's right, Ben. It's not just a valuable currency. It's also a critical material for energy, electronics, healthcare, automotive technology, and more. Visit SprottETFs.com or call 1-888-622-1813 for disclosure and prospectus information containing investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses, which should be read carefully. Alps Distributors, Inc. is the distributor for the Sprott ETFs. How we doing? This is not our music. Is that our music? That is. All right, I'll listen to the podcast. It doesn't sound like our music. How we doing? Everybody having fun? Is California the best? Yes? Yes, it is the best. I was told, it didn't occur to me, but yeah, there's no bugs. There's no bugs. A downside of California, maybe I'm nitpicking here, but I don't know about you guys. So we have beaches on the East Coast. I go to one. But there's something about the California sand. The sand sticks in my ear. And I don't know, it buries itself in my brain. I'm cleaning my ear out for 3 weeks. But other than that, I can't complain. Ben, you okay?
I'm good.
All right, before we get started, I want to mention we've got these snazzy hats. We've had a lot of people ask you about them. Pat, let's say, what's up, man? idon'tshop.com if you want them.
There was a really handsome guy at Ritholtz Wealth who said, we need some trucker hats. I'm not naming any names, and these have been hot, and everyone wants one. idon'tshop.com.
Okay, so I feel like a lot of pressure to redeem ourselves. Most of you weren't in Miami last year, but whew, we bombed. We bombed.
Well, they put us on the stage at 8 a.m. the night after Michael's 40th birthday.
So hungover adjusted, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't great. So, all right, we're going to turn it up this year. Last year in California, we did our origin stories. And no offense, but we had 30 minutes, and you took like 23 of them.
Oh, really? I did?
You did.
Okay.
But that's okay. Listen, I like...
You still holding on to that one all this time later?
No, not at all.
Jeez.
I love letting you cook, and we're this is very high. We're going to, thank you. We're going to do it again. This is Ben's show. It is 10 years of Ben Carlson at Ritholtz Wealth Management.
Well, and I thought we could give some lessons learned that because we've been reminiscing a lot because we're middle-aged now, and that's what we do when you're middle-aged.
Remember that time?
Yeah. And I thought it'd be interesting to kind of do a look back at us building Ritholtz Wealth Management from what was a startup when I joined. We were squarely a startup firm to now what is a much more mature firm. And I think we've moved on from being startup people to more mature people in some ways.
I feel very mature, very grown up. When Ben started with us in 2015, Bitcoin was at $228. God, what an idiot I was. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a lot higher right now than $228. NVIDIA was split adjusted 54 cents. It's higher than that right now. The S&P was 1,900. It's now 6,500. And the Dow was at 16,000. It's 45,000. I hand up, I didn't see that coming. Did not envision that we were about to embark on one of the best bull markets of all time. Did you?
Of course, I knew it. That's why I joined the firm.
Nailed it. All right, so Ben, I'm going to tee you up. So here's what we're going to do, okay? I don't know if you guys listen to the podcast, but I've been getting very into audiobooks lately. So I'm going to read the entire post, and you are all going to listen like an audiobook. Just kidding. Okay, all right, but we'll start here. So when Ben joined Ritholtz Wealth Management, We were managing $140 million. This was in the fall of 2015. You were the 7th employee, and you wrote, we were a startup at that point. No one really took us seriously, but we took ourselves seriously, and that's all that mattered. That brought a tear to my eye.
Well, so I remember what was the name of the taco place we used to go to right by our firm?
Salvation Taco, rest in peace and peace.
So that was the taco place we'd go to, and I came to New York the first week I joined the firm. We go out to lunch. Barry and Josh stand up to say a few words, and
wait, to say a few words to who?
Like welcoming me to the firm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was me, you, Chris, Barry, Josh, Patrick,
and Erica.
And
Barry said, "Hey, we're building the infrastructure for $1 billion firm, even though we're not close to that yet."
50.
Yeah. And the funny thing is I say it's some combination of confidence and like being naive that we all believed it at the time, even though we were so far away from that. But then Barry, aside, says, "Yeah, we can't even afford Ben's salary at this point. Hopefully we can grow into that." And
where is Barry? Is he here? Yeah, no? All right.
But I think I wrote in the post that
very inspiring, right? You're like, wow, that's a great decision.
Yeah. Well, and you've talked. We were bootstrapped at the time. There was no outside investors. It was all us and trying to like make it work. And there was times when like needing payroll was difficult. There was, remember we were leasing computers from the Apple Store, which I still don't really quite understand.
I do remember that. You were making 40% more than I was when you started. That was an ego hit, a little gut punch.
Hey, listen, no one told me. But yeah, we were squarely a startup. You guys had the crappy little office. I had my own little office, and I'd come to New York once every other month or something. And we got Slack the very first day. And it's funny to think back now. It seems so easy, but someone asked us last night, like, how were the early years? And it was, it was a slow stair step. And they said, well, when did the growth really hit? And I was thinking about this, like sometimes luck is a huge part of success. We were a remote firm kind of by accident. I remember we were at a bar one night. Wisdom Tree was throwing a party. Maybe you don't remember this.
I don't remember this.
And Barry and Josh wanted me to move to New York. I live in West Michigan. We just had our first daughter. My wife was like, "Are you out of your mind? We're not moving to Manhattan." I'm like, "All right, I guess this isn't going to work." And I said to you, "How many clients do we have in New York?" And you were like, "I don't know, a handful." Most of our clients find us from the internet all over the country. And I said, "So why do I need to move to New York and I'll bring my family?" And you go, "Oh yeah, just stay in Grand Rapids. It's fine. We'll figure it out." And we literally created a remote firm on the fly. So then COVID hits. We're totally paperless. We have way more people who live and work all over the country. And not that we would have kept our fingers crossed for a pandemic, but that was one of the best things that ever happened to our firm in terms of growth, because everyone else in the entire country and the world was brought into this Zoom world, in this paperless, go anywhere, trust people on the internet. And that was a boon for us, right? And not like we expected that to happen. We thought we were pretty forward thinking in these terms, but it was a stroke of luck. And that was, to that point, by far the biggest year we'd ever had in 2020.
Yeah, that was definitely an inflection point for us. What do you think is, all right, you wrote the blog post. I have to ask what you think is the biggest lesson. Let's talk about, you wrote about client fit being one of the most important things that we've stuck to it over the years.
So when I joined the firm, you guys said, listen, client fit is huge. And Chris Venn, who is our kind of wealth management architect, I hate to give him props because he's just going to love
it's the worst. There he is. Look at him smiling.
But he said from day one, client fit is huge. And that means the client obviously has to like what we do, like what we put out, like our process and how we handle client relationships. But we have to have a fit with the client too. There can't be all these red flags that the client wants you to do these things that you either can't or won't do. And I think, to be honest, at first I felt like, okay, that's like good lip service, but we'll bend over backwards to get any client we can because we're not that big and we need to grow. So my very first week, every person who reached out and said, hey, I heard Ben is joining the firm. I want to talk to you guys about managing my money. Chris and I hop on the phone and this guy says, he starts bragging immediately. Listen, I got $25 million. If we include my brother and my father, we're talking $100 million. Basically, like, what are you going to do for me? Goldman says they're going to do this. Morgan Stanley's going to do this. Merrill Lynch will do this. And this guy, is kind of sitting back going, all right, come on, feed me grapes while I'm laying on a hammock or whatever. And Chris goes, all right, I'm going to have to stop you right there. And the guy, he said, listen, someone...
Sir?
Dude, the wealth feed, some guy just nailed it.
Podcast going on.
Jeez. You want a teddy bear. But Chris says to the guy, listen, some firm or advisor is going to tell you that they're going to be able to give you what you want. They're not going to be able to, but they're going to tell you they are. That's just not us. We can't, it would not be a good fit. There's too many red flags. Just what you're asking us to do is not something that we're willing or able to do. And I thought, Chris, you're insane. This guy's got $100 million. Let's do whatever we can. So it's easy to say that when you're a bigger firm, yeah, client fit matters because that's easy, but we were doing it from day one.
That's not entirely true.
Well, of course, but that was, yes.
You know what I think was the final, like, oh shit, like Chris is not completely moronic. He might be onto something. Remember when we were, remember when? I'm doing remember when, the old guy thing. Damn it. There was a time we were at Dana Point and.
Oh, geez, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, one of our original conferences, right?
So we met these two South African brothers. I don't even know whatever. They had a lot of money. I don't know how much, but we have this trend following model that we have been using since 2014 to mitigate the large drawdowns that don't exist anymore. I wish we never did that. And they were asking us a million different questions about what if this and what if that. And literally, we spent the entire conference in a room doing different sort of back tests for these assholes who didn't give us any money. And it didn't even end there. It kept going. You remember that?
Yeah, they had a lot of zero hedge-ish questions that we probably should have been, yes, ding, this isn't going to work. But yeah, you're right. We did try to do stuff. And I think we've learned to slowly but surely. And yeah, no one's ever perfect at these things. Sometimes a client comes on and you realize after the fact, this isn't going to work, but it's got to be a two-way street, obviously.
So a lot of advisors will take a bad client for obvious reasons, right? We all got to put bread on the table. But if you are with a firm that is a team, which most of us are, it's not just about you. It's about your traders that have to unwind this nonsense. It's about your ops people that have to deal with the annoying emails. It's about the cash management. It's everything. And it's really selfish they'll fire us in 2 years, but whatever. I'll take it in the meantime. No, we don't do that. We used to do that. Not anymore. All right, moving on. Overnight success is overrated. When I joined the firm, I assumed all these wealthy families and big institutions would throw us their money. It didn't happen right away, and that was for the best.
So I came from the institutional world and foundations and endowments, and the big lesson for me there was how much I learned all about career risk and how many of these people were working for committees and organizations and having to do things that they didn't really necessarily agree with or want to do. But it's like, listen, this is the job. This is what they're telling me to do. I have to do it. So I thought, great, this is not the way that I want to manage money. I don't think it's the right way to do things. I think there's a better way to do things. And I thought, well, when I joined Ritholtz, all these huge institutions are just going to throw us money. And it didn't happen right away. And it was a little bit of an ego hit. I thought, wait a minute. Why isn't this working? And we didn't have the institutional knowledge back then. And when I say institutional, I don't mean those types of investors. I mean, we didn't have like that level of expertise. You have to take like a stair-step function almost to get to that point where you've had some reps and you have to put it in. We always like to say that like expertise or experience is not the same thing as expertise, but for some things you just have to put in the time to figure out how to do it better. And then once you have a few of those situations and circumstances, then you can better deal with clients that come in at that level and stuff. So I got something for you. Okay.
Little twist.
Yeah. No, I think that I did a panel earlier today on content, and I think that's obviously been the big thing, and a lot of advisors ask us about the content piece and how they can do it. And I think the biggest surprise to me is just the flywheel effect of the content. I assumed, hey, when I join the firm, all the people who read my blog, who want us to like me or the firm and like our process, they'll give us their money, and then eventually that well will run dry. And then our business will be built on referrals, because the people like Barry and the people like Josh and you, and that will eventually go dead. I never considered the fact that the longer and more and consistently we produce content, eventually those people come to us because they have stuff going on in their life. Not because, I like these guys, I'm going to throw them money. And I think the flywheel effect is something that I think we all probably underestimated. And it's like compounding. It's back loaded.
Is there a question?
No, I'm being nostalgic here. I'm just thinking back. Don't you think that that's something that obviously we put our foot on the gas when we realized how important content was, and it wasn't. We've all talked about. We all started our own sort of blog stuff separate from each other. We never said let's start blogs and then we'll all come together like Voltron as one, and then we'll create a firm. Like it never was that thing. We all just did it because we enjoyed it. But I think once we realized, like, oh, this is a very powerful tool for client retention and for prospecting and marketing and all these things, then we put our foot on the gas and really figured it out. But it wasn't like on day one we had these grand ideas that this is gonna be a machine for us.
So I am a goldfish. Like I don't see outside the fishbowl. I got kicked out of college twice, as most listeners know. So I am very much like one day at a time. I don't think about the future. I don't plan for the future. But you're right. I guess I assumed that when we started, it's Barry's name. Barry was the person that people were familiar with. And I think I figured that once that well ran dry, then, I don't know, we would figure something else out.
Yeah, we'd be like a lot of other firms that now it's time to get off the horse and find your clients.
It didn't really occur to me that Josh was going to have the career that he had. I think he's overrated, but I guess people sort of like him. I definitely didn't anticipate the podcast and the YouTube and that we would have people coming to us. So I think the biggest thing that I got wrong about our business, and I said this to our team last night. So me, Josh, Barry, and Chris meet twice a year to talk about the business, and we never spoke about asset milestones, like ever. It just didn't really come up. Maybe like we were excited about the first billion. I'm sure.
I don't think as a firm, we've never really had goalposts or benchmarks that like, you have to hit this. Yeah.
No, we never spoke like that. It was always about like, what are we doing? What's working? What's not working? Where do we want to spend money? And it was that sort of stuff. And I remember it was 2018, I believe, maybe 2017. I can't remember. Whatever. We were in Barry's backyard, and I had this really great idea to just get to $3 billion. This was the time that I threw out a number. Let's get to $3 billion, and like, let's just all really enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. Then we're gonna coast. Yeah. We'll be fine.
And in hindsight, it was so misguided because what I never could have envisioned was that getting to $3 billion was going to require an army of highly motivated people. And I didn't think about these people because they didn't exist, right? It was like, whatever, 10 of us are. And so when we got to $3 billion, I don't know how many employees we were, but it was so far gone. Like the train left the station. And at that point in time, you can't obviously tell people like, all right, this is it for us. Nobody's gonna get any more money. Nobody's
gonna ladder behind you.
Yeah, like sorry, this is it. And so now my primary motivation is making sure that I deliver on the promise that I made to everybody that I hired. That's that, like, we're never gonna stop. We are highly, highly competitive people, and I want everybody who's here to feel like, outside of finding their spouse, this was the single best decision that they've made in their entire career. And if you feel that, Ritholtz people, make some noise. All right, thank you.
Like your work spouse too, right?
And my work spouse. I love you, Ben.
But I think I don't mean to get like philosophical, but I think that mindset, Patrick O'Shaughnessy says like the growth over goals mindset. I do think there's something to that. Not having like these benchmarks for our advisors saying, hey, now you have to manage 10 million and then it's got to be 20 by the end of the year and it's got to be 30. There's none of those internal benchmarks in terms of looking over your shoulder. And I think one of the, not trying to say we got everything right, but one of the things we did get right is that we wanted to grow in the right way. And not saying we always did that, but I think that was
no,
one
this
of the
is
things.
it. Like somebody asked me, what am I most proud of at Ritholtz Wealth Management? And immediately there's no number two, it's the people. And this is why we were able to build the way that we've done it. And one thing that I got very right, even though I've got a lot wrong, is that if it's not an obvious yes, it's a no. Like that's our mantra, and it's not lip service, and the proof is in the pudding. We've hired 27 advisors and 1.5 didn't work out. And listen, nobody's perfect, but we take that really seriously. And when you onboard somebody, everything has to go right. Philosophy in terms of how they want to handle their clients, obviously like how they think about managing money, how they think about ambition. And balancing the act of lifestyle and career ambitions. Like for us, there is no balance, and we go hard. I don't know what else to say, and it's just it served us well, and that is how we're going to continue to grow with the right people only. That's it.
Well, that the one question that we always get, and we talk about this every couple of years, but people will say, how do you guys have so much time you're running a firm, but you're also producing all this content? How do you have time to do both?
I wake up at 3:30, 4 on the weekends.
Listen to 3 audiobooks. But I think part of it is not only hiring the right people, but for whatever reason, in our sick brains, this is the stuff that really interests us. You and I don't golf. Do you do fantasy football?
I do, but my partner does the heavy lifting.
Okay, but we don't have a lot of honestly hobbies, and that sounds kind of loserish, but this is the stuff that we enjoy doing too. I think that's part of it, especially on the content side of things.
Do you think about the next 10 years?
I don't think that way.
But do you ever go there? Sometimes.
But yeah,
come on, be honest.
No, sure.
Nobody's listening.
And I think if I tried to map it out, I'd be completely wrong whatever I tried to say. But I think one of the things that we've realized is, and I don't want this to come back to bite me, but we like being an independent firm. And I think just because we're kind of
we will never take outside money, so stop asking. But there is a price for everything. So
yeah, just NVIDIA
you
valuation.
Can't put a price on freedom, but I don't know. Half a bill.
Yeah, I think that's. We're kind of a band of misfits in a lot of ways, and I don't think we would do well inside of like a big corporate structure. I know I wouldn't, because I think we're just too used to doing things our own way. But we've had to become, I don't know, a little more corporate as we've grown too. So because we have a lot of people in our firm now.
Almost 80. All right, what else? What else is going on?
What else we got?
All right. Time for some stand-up. We done?
No. I think there's also a lot of unintended consequences along the way. You and I kind of started this podcast as a lark in 2017, and we at the time thought, oh God, everyone's doing a podcast. Do we need to do one?
I told this story before, but whatever. It's a new audience. New people are here. I was mortified the week that we were starting a podcast. Now, talking into a microphone is difficult. It requires practice. And there's something that happens when the camera goes on and you see a red light, your brain gets twisted. I can't describe it, but it's hard. And I got butterflies for the first 3 years.
Remember, we have 5 or 6 podcasts. We did a practice podcast.
Yeah, those are great.
That never saw the light of day.
We should resurface those. But anyway, the week that we started, the New Yorker ran a headline, like a cartoon. I'm thinking of stopping a podcast. And I was just like, oh.
But so I'm thinking through the unintended consequences of it. Think about how many people we've hired because we put it out on the podcast. Hey, we're hiring for this advisor position or this CSA position.
Almost all of them.
So that, and not like we ever could have envisioned, like this is going to be a way that we bring in other people too, because they follow us and they, so it is interesting just to think about all the offshoots that you asked me about the next 10 years. How many other things are we not considering now that could go different paths? We think about how many times we tinkered with the conference business. We started out in a stuffy, what was it, like a Yale something in New York, right?
What was it, Chris? The Union League Club.
Yeah, so it was this stuffy old, they had, mahogany and wood panels, and we just quickly realized that kind of thing is not us. So especially when the future-proof people came to us and Matt Middleton said, we're thinking of doing this, we immediately said, yes. I don't know if it's going to work, but that sounds exactly like something that we would want to be part of.
All right. Ben, talk about the different type of pool guys.
I didn't know I had to come up with bits. No, I was making the point earlier. I snuck away for some pool time earlier. I just needed to decompress a little bit. And I ordered some fish tacos and maybe another Miami Vice at the pool. I don't know. You're only supposed to have one per day. But you know what the worst thing about the pool is? Eating at the pool is horrible. Yeah. No one can ever look comfortable or cool eating at the pool because you're bending over a table and you're doing this thing, and it doesn't work.
That's it? All right. No, you're right. Definitely doesn't work. All right. This is a conference of, I'm very proud. This is a very diverse conference. This is a very male-dominated industry, and there are a lot of different types of people here, which is wonderful. But still, there are a lot of guys. And one thing that guy says, I never really thought about this until 2 weeks ago. I was at Bowie Bar on Long Island with my partner, Chris. And there was a group of guys, and one guy walks over, and he goes, I hear the guy go, there he is. And I said, you know what? I'm a big there he is guy. And who isn't? Like I got that here at this conference a dozen times, maybe more. And then I was thinking about the different types of ways that guys say there he is. And there are some nuances and some subtleties to the naked observer, which is a phrase I used last week. Eric called me out on that. That's a phrase.
The naked observer now.
The naked observer. You all know what I'm talking about. So to the naked observer, there he is might be indistinguishable from this guy, but in reality, very, very different things.
But I thought the reason you say there he is because you don't remember someone's name. Isn't that the whole point?
So there he is. It's very malleable. You could use it in all different sorts of settings. There he is works when you don't know the person's name, but also like if that's like your friend that you haven't seen in a long time, there he is, bro hug, right?
There he is. It's a slippery slope until you're saying take it easy.
No. What you're going for is living
the dream.
Look what the cat dragged in. Okay. They let anybody in. That's a different thing. I'm talking about there he is. There he is. It's uplifting. So anyway, back to the original point. Back to the point, because this is what matters. All right. This guy, that's condescending. So if you ever, right, Adam? If you ever get to this guy, maybe that guy's not your friend. Thoughts? Anybody? All right.
I didn't know where we were going with this one.
I don't know. Well, we still got time.
All right.
I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks as I get into my mid-40s. You know, I was looking at my phone today. A lot of steps, right? Like a lot of steps. So I was just walking back and forth. By the way, Future Proof. Are you kidding me? It's like a mile long. Let's give it up for Future Proof. So I opened my health app just to see how many steps I took, and I took several, not to brag. And on top of my health app, summary, 7-day limit exceeded on my headphone audio exposure. Do I have to tell Apple? No. I'm listening to audiobooks. It's fine. You have to recalibrate my ear settings. I'm not over the limit. Anybody? Okay. All right, Ben, are we done?
You're turning into Mike Myers as the old Jewish woman. I'm verklempt. That's you.
I am all verklempt.
You're going there and...
all right, any questions? Anybody want to say hi? Anything?
Well, we have 3 minutes left. We could do a question before we announce our
we're doing a happy hour.
Yeah, so at 5:15, this has been my one dream since we started Future Proof. I think that Miami Vice is, we've talked about this on the show, it's the best beachside, poolside drink that there is.
This guy, am I right?
Now I got it. Living the dream. But we get pictures from people when they go on vacations. They send us and they tag us on social media or they DM us with their Miami Vice, wherever they go. And so my dream has been to get a frozen drink machine. I've been asking for it every single year. So this year we finally came through. We have 2 frozen drink machines over in the Ritholtz Wealth Management compound booth over there. At 5:15, we're going to be doing an Animal Spirits happy hour.
And I feel like we got 90% of the way there because, unfortunately, there's no brown rum. We don't have floaters. But I promise next year we'll do better, okay? So this year you got to bear with us. There's no floaters.
We have an hour and a half for someone to come up with a couple bottles of Jamaican rum. I think it can be done.
Rob's shaking his head. All right. More importantly, we've got Blues Traveler, Jack Popper. Is it Jack or John?
John Popper.
John? Who's Jack Popper? I think I went to high school with the Jack Popper.
Yeah. To the naked observer, Jack actually sounds.
Jack, John, whatever. So he had a case of COVID like the other day, but I think he's fine. And he's going on at 7:15. And then after that, we've got Bush. Let's go. Very excited.
The 1990s nostalgia is just going to be kicking in for us.
Absolutely.
Is there a way to invest in millennial nostalgia? Because that is the next big wave. That's the next big bull market.
Nicole, we just mentioned the happy hour. Where were you? You weren't listening. Nah, we did it.
And one more time, the idon'tshop.com if you want one of the compound hats, because we didn't bring enough and we didn't have enough printed.
All right, I got one more thing.
All right.
No, I don't. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.